Hi friends, it's Lauren here at Craft Some Joy, and welcome back to another edition of Scrap With Me ×3. I'm so happy to be collaborating once again with my buddies Noreen Smith at Organized and Creative Mom and Kylie Kingham at Paper Sweet Pea. And you can find their shopping, social, and video links in the description of this video. They have made some amazing new designs with the What Is Zoo 2 collection, and I can't wait to share how I've created this fun interactive page, including a little library pocket that you could add your memorabilia to, and some fun new techniques. So let's jump in and get started with this fun new collection, What Is Zoo 2 from Creative Memories. All right, so let's take a minute first and just talk a little bit about the layout that we are going to work on today. It's a really simple, easy, fun layout that you'll find, but I also just want to share 3 tips with you today for how I did a few little tricks on this page. The first one is, if you'll notice right here, this card that says Wild, that's actually one of the map pack cards, but I made it into a pocket, like a little library pocket, and also kind of made this cute little library card. So you can see you can put a map in the pocket and also any kind of little decoration. I also am going to give you a tip on how to make sure you're going to fit the words using sticker letters. So I have a fun little tip for you for that. And then the last tip for this page is I found a really neat trick for how to punch with this bamboo punch, especially on thinner paper. So I'm going to share that with you today as well. But let's jump in first and take a look at how the pages are put together. And then as I'm going through the process, I'll weave in those tips for you. Okay, so let's dig into the components of this really fun collection, What Is Zoo 2, and what I'll be using today to make these pages. So what we'll start with is the embellishments from What Is Zoo pack and also the variety map pack. We are going to be using some of the stickers from the designer sticker pack. That's the one with all the cute little animals in it. We are also going to use the border stickers from the Totally Tonal collection. The Zoo collection has also border stickers, but this is from the Totally Tonal collection. I'm also going to be using some of the small ABC stickers from Creative Memories, and then some paper, and we are going to use the Totally Tonal Zoo. We're going to need 1 sheet from the Totally Tonal Zoo, which is this dark green leaf paper. And we are also going to need a few sheets from the What Is Zoo 2 designer paper pack. So from this paper pack, we are going to use 2 sheets of the spotted paper, which has the brown on the back, 1 sheet of the zebra paper, and that has the gold print on the back. And if you don't have the Totally Tonals green leaf paper, you could also substitute one of the green papers from this pack instead of that paper as well. So if you don't have your hands on the Totally Tonal Zoo, this is the paper I'll be using, but you could also substitute that for one of the green papers in the designer paper pack. And then last, we are going to use a sheet of rich brown cardstock, just 1 sheet. Okay, now here is the punch from the bamboo punch. And when I saw this punch, I immediately fell in love. And you can see that the green leaf paper really does give a beautiful color variation and texture when you use this punch. But it also is very thin paper. So what I'd like you to do is grab one of the index sheets from your paper pack and that's just one that you might have an extra. And you could use the What a Zoo paper pack, but just you're going to need one of these thinner white pieces of paper. And what we're going to do, that's part of my tip, is we're going to use this with the green paper. Okay, so in addition to the paper, as I mentioned, we're going to need our bamboo punch as our tool. I'm also going to use the brown dot tip pen, and I'm going to need 3 different types of adhesives for this project. We're going to need just your regular repositionable. This is the extra strength adhesive, and then this is the regular adhesive. And if you don't have extra strength, you are going to just need something really strong to kind of adhere that pocket down, because we're using a matte pack and it's cardstock. Okay, so just some really strong adhesive for that. We are going to, of course, need our 12-inch handy dandy trimmer with the straight blade and our scoring blade. So that's the orange scoring blade. I'm also going to use today the corner rounder, multi-purpose tool, scissors, of course, and no project would be complete without foam squares. So make sure you grab all the different supplies and let's get started making our page. Okay, now I'm going to build these pages, assuming that you are either going to use a 12 by 12 backing paper for a top loading page, or you can put this paper directly down on top of your scrapbook page. Okay, so when I do the cutting, you'll notice that these measurements are exact. I'm not giving any overlap, but if you prefer, you could always make the zebra stripes just a little longer so that you can attach the papers together, or you could use tape chips to weld the back together. Okay, so let's first start with cutting, and we are going to start with the zebra stripe paper, and we need 2 cuts with this paper. We're going to cut first at 1.5 inches, okay, with our straight blade, and we're going to set that aside, and then we're going to cut another strip at 3 inches. Okay. And set that aside. That's all the zebra we're going to need for today. And then on the dotted paper, we're now going to take that 1.5 inch strip off of one side. So we're going to cut this down just 1.5 inches. And we're going to save that piece. It's going to just go aside, and set the larger piece over on our work pile. And then this sheet, we're going to cut that 3-inch strip off. So we're going to take this, cut it at the 3-inch mark, and then the 3-inch piece we're going to set aside. And we're going to keep our big piece. Okay, so now we're going to cut our brown cardstock. And the first cut I'm going to make, I'm just going to trim 2 inches off the cardstock and set that 2-inch piece aside. Now we're going to turn the paper horizontally, and I'm going to cut a 5-inch strip off. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to set both these pieces aside to use in our layout. Okay, and now to jump into the Totally Tonal paper pack, I grabbed the leaf paper out of that pack that has the giraffe print on the back. And we are going to cut a strip at 4.5 from this paper. And then we're just going to make a 4.5 inch square. So I'm going to turn that horizontally and cut that once again at 4.5. Okay, and I'm going to set that little square aside. This is just extra paper. Now, before we put our trimmer away, I'm going to have you get your matte pack, and we're going to dig out a few of the matte pack cards out of this collection. And as I always say, bring out the things that work the best for your photos and your layout. But for the layout that I created, the cards we're going to use is this one that says wild, and we're actually going to need that. And then the other ones that I pulled out are the card that says Adventures. And then this little card that has the green banners on the bottom. And I have a background card, so that's in the 4.5 by 6.5 stash. We're going to use one of those with the dark brown edge on it. And I think I'll use this one. And then last but not least, we need the yellow. There it is. And this one. Okay, so those, I know it's a lot from the map pack, but you know what I also found is that sometimes I end up having a lot of leftovers from my map pack. So this layout, I kind of went to town with all the different cards and textures that went together. Okay, so quickly on this, we are going to need to cut the yellow squares apart. Now, this is a 4.5 by 6.5, so I'm going to cut 3.25. So that is cutting the 6.5 in half. There we go. And we're going to set those aside. Now on the last critical piece. This is where we are going to learn how to make a library pocket. And I was looking at some of my dies and saw this really cute little library pocket die set. And I thought, we've got this amazing trimmer. Like, we can make our own library pocket just using the trimmer. Okay, so what you'll want to do is switch out your straight blade for the scoring blade. And then we are going to score 3 edges, the 3 bottom, the 2 outside and the bottom edge at 1/2 inch. Okay, so the 1/2 inch right over here to the first line on our trimmer. Okay, so we're going to move our card over and we're going to score. Now, it does matter. I'm scoring with the wild facing up. Okay, so make sure you do that. So I'm just going to give it a good run. This is thick paper, okay? So we're going to score that. Now we're going to turn it and we're going to score again. And then we're going to turn it and we're going to score again. Now, you don't want to press so hard that you're going to actually cut the paper, which can happen with the scoring blade, but you're just going to score. Okay, so now I hope you can see the scored edges. I'm trying to catch the light so you can see those 3 scored edges. This is the tricky part, but you'll get it, no problem. What we're going to do next is actually cut these corners off using our 45-degree angle on the trimmer. So what I'm going to line up my card right along that 45-degree angle, and I'm going to pull down. I can see, it's going to be difficult for you to see, but when you're doing it in person, you're going to see where the corner is that you made with your score lines. And that's what I'm shooting for. I'm trying to get that corner, that intersection, lined up with my trimmer guide. Now, you're going to want to take your scoring blade out and put in your straight blade, and then make sure you pull out your little plastic guide. And that is what you're going to use to make sure that you are lined up exactly where that little intersection is, where that little cross is. And make sure, again, you're on your 45-degree. I see I moved my paper quite a bit. So you're going to have to fiddle with this a little bit. Pull it down, make sure you're still on the 45, use your guide, kind of check it a little bit more, and make sure that when you cut, you're all set up where you need to be. Okay, and then give it a little trim. So that's what it's going to look like, just that little edge off, okay? So what we're going to do is do the same thing again, but I do need to turn my card over because I need to work on this side. And I've got that lined up, and I need to pull it down just a little bit more and make sure I'm ready. And there I go. Okay, perfect. So now I have my little corners cut off, and it is time to fold our card. So what you'll want to do is start and fold your edges in like this. And this is where the multi-purpose tool comes in really handy, because you're going to use that blue grip and give it a good crease. Now we're going to turn, fold that edge up, the bottom edge. You can see this is really beautiful, thick cardstock that they use for the mats. And the third. And this technique you can use anytime you want to make a cute little library pocket, right? You just use the scoring, use the trimmer, and cut those edges, and you have just a really cute little library pocket ready to go. So this is where you're going to need to use that extra strong adhesive, as you can see. Now, the other thing is, what I've noticed where I've placed my pocket on the page, if you want to take a piece of scratch paper, and maybe we'll just go ahead and do this. It might be a little, I'm going to take easier. A little piece of white cardstock and actually back this. Because what I noticed is when I take my map in and out, it's getting hung up on the bamboo. So let's just go ahead and do that. And that might be just a fun, easy way to keep the back of the pocket intact. Okay. And then let's take and use our extra strength adhesive. So I wasn't planning on doing this, but hey, as I'm filming, I'm thinking this would be a really great alternative to just placing the pocket straight down on the page. Because as I said, as I was using it, I was realizing, oh, that bamboo. Yes, it's beautiful, but it does get in the way. Okay, so I'm going to take this and now just add the white cardstock to the background. And this is why I trimmed it just a little smaller. And I think I'm still, oh, no, that looks good. Okay, there we go. So I thought I might have to trim some of the white off the edge, but there you go. So now you have this perfect, cute, printed little library pocket ready to go on your scrapbook page. Okay, so just perfect. Now, before we put our tools away, one last little thing I'm going to have you do is grab your corner rounder and just round the edges of this little journal card, because to me, I liked the look of those cute little rounded corners, as almost it really does kind of look like a library card, right? Remember those that we used to keep in our books long ago? Okay, so now we've got most of our cutting and tool work done except for the bamboo punch. So that's my next little tip for you that I want to share. And as you remember, we are using this beautiful textural leaf paper. And I said grab a piece of index paper, right? So what I'm going to have you do, when I was punching this, I realized this punch is absolutely gorgeous, but I had a hard time. Like I had a hard time with it. My paper wanted to rip, especially on this thinner weight paper. And I didn't want to give up on this gorgeous tonal variation that you can see on the bamboo punch using this green paper. I mean, it's just so pretty. So I tried a few different things, and what I came up with, I think you're going to love for any kind of a delicate punch. What you're going to need is your repositionable tape runner, and yes, you're going to use a lot of it, but I know you'll thank me later. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the paper over that we want to punch, and I'm just going to run 2 strips. Yes, I just did that all the way down the paper. 2 strips of adhesive side by side all the way down the edge of the paper. And then you're just going to take your white scratch paper, and I like using it with the white side up. And I'm just going to adhere that together, just like that. Now you have a beautiful, thicker weight paper that is going to punch beautifully. So what we're going to do is just slide that right into the bamboo punch, use our notches as a guide. And let me tell you, after doing this so many times and failing, it's beautiful how this just punches right through both of those layers without any hassle. And that adhesive, that Repo adhesive, just keeps everything intact and stuck together. So this is another one of those tips. Like I was saying, you could use this on any of your more delicate favorite punches. Okay, I'm just going to take my scissors and snip off those ends, just like that. Okay, so you can see how beautifully that punched without any hang-ups and any tearing. Okay, so what we're going to need is 5 of these beautiful bamboo strips. So I'm just going to let you go ahead and do that now, and then we're going to come back and build our page. So we're going to start out just with what the base page design looks like. And you'll see that this is a very, very simple base page. So we're going to take our 1.5 inch zebra stripe and line it up on the left-hand edge. Then our large dot paper is going to get lined up right next to it. So this is where, if you are using a page, you can just adhere it right down to your page. And if you are using a background paper, a 12 by 12 cardstock, you can just adhere it down to that. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to put the 3-inch strip and the smaller dotted paper. Okay, so we have that as our base, and then we're going to take the 5 by 10 inch brown rectangle, and we're going to lay it here. And I'm using the inch guidelines right here. So because we cut 2 inches off, this should line up at the 1 inch and the 11 inch mark. So that's our one side, and then the brown paper is going to go on the opposite side at the same location between the 11 and the 1. Okay, and then we're going to set in this green textural paper here to do one more cut. So let's grab the trimmer and do one more cut, and that's on this little card. Now here's something really fun that I noticed. They have started doing kind of this double printing on this card, and I love it because I'm all about 4x4s, as you know, and I love having a little 4x4 square that matches up perfectly underneath a little 4x4 picture. So when I saw this, I thought, oh, I'm going to try it. I'm going to cut that little edge off. So I'm cutting those 2 little green banners off. And then what's left? Oh my goodness, it's like a smidge over a 4. So what I ended up doing is I just trimmed that right down to a 4x4 square. And this is the side that we're going to use for our little journal box right here. Okay, so this is now a 4x4 square. And I did back it so that it has that green backing that we're using other places on our layout. Okay, so now we're going to take and layer the textural elements over here. This is that brown, I don't know if it's like a lizard skin or something, reptile skin paper over here. And then I really liked putting the 4x6 journaling box with that textural background. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing that texture behind here, and then that's pulling in the texture on the wild card over here. Okay, so, and then we've got the little touches of green, and we have the golden yellow color that I'm going to be playing with too. Okay, so once we have this is kind of our base page component, let's talk a little bit about the other design elements. And the first one, of course, is our bamboo strips. So what I thought is how interesting, and I wanted to kind of give center stage to these beautiful bamboo punches. So I went ahead and took a lot of space to kind of highlight those. So we're going to take those 4 strips and put those 4 bamboo strips down on the page. So I'm just going to bring this one over so I can show you how I did that. Okay, just like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you use your repositionable adhesive on the back and you're good to go. The next thing then is just adding those finishing touches to the brown cardstock that I used. We're both on the same sticker sheet. And again, bringing through the color, that little touch of color that I was using on the different elements. So I used this sticker strip, and since adding this paper together adds up to 12, I only needed to use 1 strip here, and again 1 strip at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put my other page down so we can talk a little bit more about the layout and design. Now we have the yellow going across with the sticker strip, and then we have the zigzag going across down here. So interestingly enough, for my 2-page spread, I do not know what happened to my zoo photos from this day. I could only find 3. I have finished my 1999 family album. There were no zoo pictures in there. I finished my kids' albums. There were no zoo pictures in there, but yet I do know this was September 17th of 99 because the picture says so, for one, but I can also see how old my kids are here in this picture. And for some reason, I have no other pictures of this event. Now, hopefully, when you go to the zoo, you have lots and lots of pictures, but I kind of just wanted to use those 3 in a special way. So that's another reason why I wanted to highlight them kind of in the center of the layout. Now, if you have more photos, that is amazing. You can put a 4x6 photo here. You can add another 4.5 by 5 over here, or 5 by 5, or whatever size works for you, another 4 by 6 across here. So there's plenty of room on the layout to add more photos. But I'm just kind of giving you the reason why I only have 3, when you guys know how much I love adding pictures to my page. If I ever find more, you bet I'll just stick a peekaboo pocket on here and add in those photos. So that was another reason why I kind of wanted to play a little bit just with the layout. So another element, so once we have those 4 bamboo on this side, you're going to stick your library pocket down. And now that you have that backing to the pocket, you're not going to get things stuck in there like I do. And here's another tip too. So this was back in 1999. I would have loved to have had the original map. Now, maybe I'll come across it one of these days. I have not yet, but I went to the zoo website and I printed out this cute little map of the zoo. They had a beautiful download that you could get. And I thought, well, that's really fun and kind of a neat little element I can add to my library pocket. So the other element I wanted to add in was this little card. And you could just change out the letters depending on whatever zoo you went to. This is from the embellishment pack. And as I showed you, we rounded the corners. And so I think it just looks really cute like that. So how did I get Los Angeles to look and fit perfectly on that card? I'm going to share with you a little tip, and some of you may have already heard me share this before, But one of my favorite things to do is whenever you have foam squares is to save the backing paper. This stuff is golden. So all you need to do is trim off just a little section of this backing paper. And this is now what you're going to put your letters on. So if I were going to spell out, let's say, the Portland Zoo, right? I don't even know. Maybe there is a zoo in Portland, maybe not. I'm going to grab the P, use my multi-purpose tool, and I'm going to line just the bottom little tidbit up on the edge of my backing paper. Okay, so I hope you guys can see that. And then I'm going to continue spacing my letters out on the backing paper. Oops, I just lost it. Just lost my P. Here it is. Okay. And I'm going to move this out of the way so you can kind of have a better look at that. So you're just going to take that letter and use the backing paper. If I can get this to cooperate with me. I guess I shouldn't have picked a P, but you can see sometimes those are harder. And then let's say we're going to use a little O. So I'm going to grab that. Some of these you have to make sure you don't get that inside part of the sticker letter. Okay, so I've got that O. I love using the multi-purpose tool because I can just stick it right on the edge. Okay, and then I'm going to use that and then just press down on the bottom. Okay, so you get now I can go ahead to spell that all out, and then when I'm ready to put it on my card, I can move this around and go, oh, I only have room for one line. Or, yep, I can get everything across the top. Or, you know, like I said, if you wanted to move and do 2 lines, you can do the first line here and then move it down and do the second line. So whatever works for you in whatever zoo that you are visiting or have pictures of, then you could just use this. So once you're done, you just place that in place, and then you're going to hold the top with your finger, press down, and then just kind of flick the bottom of the backing paper off. Remember, this is backing paper, so it doesn't stick. You're going to use the waxy side so it doesn't stick. Okay, so that's my fun little tip for alphabets, and I use that all the time whenever I'm trying to get my letters to go exactly where I want them to go, especially on one of these little cards. Now, if you have one of those older Journaltopia or Titletopia, great. Those work fabulously too. But this is another just a little tip and trick for your titles. Okay, so I've told you how to do the library pocket, the bamboo with the page, and then how to use your letters. So the last part then of the layout is just adding details that are going to enhance your own photos. So since we have a photo here of flamingos, I chose to add flamingos, but our stickers have so many adorable animals that you could just pick whatever animals and cluster them where I have mine placed around your layout. So I loved the monkeys, and that was kind of one of the highlights was for the kids is seeing the monkeys, and we saw the nursery with some little babies. But if you remember other parts of the zoo or you have pictures, just grab those and you can always swap them out. But the idea was to kind of frame the different places on the layout. Now, last I did kind of a bullet list over here. I did my journaling here, and then I did kind of a bullet list over here on this side of what I remembered that we did. Yes, it was a long time ago, but I do kind of remember what we did. And then I did a cut letter title down here. Our playgroup was called Friday Friends, and this was our playgroup. And then I put the date, since I did have the exact date from the photos. So just adding those little details, pulling colors across that enhance and kind of pull all the different components together. And that's it. You have a fun 2-page zoo layout. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and let us know what part of the layout you enjoyed. Are you going to use the library pocket in other ways? How about the sticker titles, and how about the punching? Did you like those tips? Let me know in the comments section. And also, if you enjoy these collaborations, we really have a good time bringing you this content. So in case you need a little reminder, when you're done here, you can hop on over to Kylie Kingham at Paper Sweet Pea, check out her darling page, and also Noreen Smith at Organized and Creative Mom. You are not going to want to miss what they have to share with you for this fun new What a Zoo collection. All their shopping and social links will be in the description of this video, as well as their video. And also just a quick reminder, if you want to get the download on all the cutting guides and exactly how to put this page together with all the measurements, just hop on over to each of our websites where you can download our instruction guides. And we also have a free notebook insert for you that you can use in a notebook to keep all of your handouts together. Okay, so until next time, I hope you take time to craft some joy, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, and bye for now.